Hello, and welcome to this episode of the 5-Year Reunion. My name's Emily Cherish. This podcast series is about the road trip I took to catch up with 23 of my former high school classmates 5 years after graduating with them. Today, we are in New York City. I start the day off by getting breakfast with a former classmate of mine at Mike's Unicorn Diner in Staten Island. This is Gaby Chau.
Can I please do the spinach, feta, and tomato omelet?
Peanut feta and tomato omelet.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Can I get matzo ball soup, coleslaw, and 1 egg?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Matzo ball soup has just arrived and a side of coleslaw.
Thank you.
Gabby's like, that is the most disgusting palate I've ever seen in my life.
I would never say that to your face.
I walked in and I was like, is this a nursing home? So many old people.
Yep.
But that's like what I love. Like, I love like old people like sitting and eating. Why are we in Staten Island right now?
I'm in Staten Island because that's where the job opportunity took me. We're looking for a graduate assistant coach for fencing at Wagner College, which is in Staten Island. It was a graduate assistant position, and then in the interview, my administrator was like, oh, by the way, you'd be the head coach. And I was like, oh, cool. So I fenced throughout college, and now I am a coach.
Hold up.
Yep.
You fenced throughout college.
I did.
Very
I went
cool.
Team 1.
Wow.
Yeah, they let me do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I competed for 3 years, and then I medical redshirted my senior year because I had a back injury. And I was just like, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
And then, I was planning on graduating, getting a job, so I was like, I don't really need to fence anymore. And clearly that is not how life went. So, yep, I'm a head coach. I have 10 athletes. I love them very much. And it's also kind of awkward because you have to maintain the line between friends and friendly with the athletes because, like, I'm only a year older than some of them.
Facts.
So that's because I need them to respect me so they listen to me during practice, but at the same time, like, I want them, if they have an issue, I want them to be able to feel like they can come to me. But I remember when I was first, like, my body started to crap out on me because of athletics. First it was my knees, and then to compensate for my knees, my hamstrings got real tight, which pulled on my hip flexors, which pulled on my back. So I couldn't really walk at that point. It was really unfortunate. Thank you so much. I actually went to the chiropractor last summer, and she was surprised I was still walking. It was that level bad.
Wow.
But I remember, like, my team was so supportive. Like, they really... One of my teammates, Ella, she, like, went out her way, like, make sure I was stretching, make sure I was rolling. Like, she wanted to help me make adjustments to my everyday life that would make the pain easier and to slow how bad it was getting. So it was just really nice that she
was there.
Yeah, she was there for me. And now, like, I want to be that person for my athletes. You know?
So good. Yeah, so good.
Yeah. I really want to travel the United States. I really want a road trip. Because we would travel and, like, in high school, I'd travel for fencing all the time. But, like, you would travel to convention centers, that's not really seeing where you're going.
Yeah.
So I haven't really seen things. I've just been there. I've seen airports. It's not the same.
So ideally, road trip.
I want to see Arches and Zion in Utah really bad. The national parks.
Cool. I never heard of it. Are you a nature girl?
I wasn't in high school, but moving to New Hampshire has kind of changed
Sure.
me. I like being outside now. I like being in the sun. I like the dirt. Like grounding. I hated dirt in high school.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't want to be outside ever.
A transformation. What was, like, your plan leaving high school? You wanted to do sports, you said before.
Actually, leaving high school, I was like, I'm going to be a chemist like my dad. I went to college for chemistry. I graduated with a BS in chemistry. Halfway through my degree, I was like, wow, I hate this.
Okay.
I do not want to work in academia. I do not want to teach high school chemistry. Did not expect myself to be here. Nope, not at all. I expected myself to be living and working in Boston, doing research at some pharmaceutical company. Did not like that. Did not like I didn't like chemistry in school. Like, we were with the pre-med kids for, like, the first 2 years, and they are nasty people. They're so competitive. Like, we had to turn our lab reports into a locked box so people wouldn't pull your report out to give you a 0, which would lower the curve so their grade would be better. I don't have that personality.
Right.
Like, I'll be like that, like, competing in athletics, but not in my academics and not in my, like, general life. Like, I have no idea to have others fail. Like, I don't want other people to have to fail to do better myself. Like,
You, like, take away my coleslaw while I go to the bathroom.
honestly, I'm, like, really happy where I ended up, all things considered. I feel like I'm doing okay.
Thanks to Gabi. I had some time to kill between recordings, so I headed over to visit my former roommate, a 90-year-old Italian woman named Tavia. 3 years ago, I found an ad on Craigslist for a spare bedroom. It was the only ad in all lowercase and without pictures, so naturally I had to see what the deal was. Me and Tavia lived together for about a year. Even though I moved out, we still get dinner together once a week. She's basically my best friend. Hi.
Hi.
I went to Raffetto's and got fresh pasta.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You're not gonna make it now?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, look.
Oh, but what is it? What shape is it?
Pappardelle.
Pappardelle?
Yeah. A friend of mine gave me a recipe I'm gonna make for you.
Oh. This is wonderful.
Really? Oh, I'm glad you like it. Isn't this recipe good?
What did you do with this sauce?
Vodka sauce.
Vodka?
As we continued eating, the phone rang. It's Judy from downstairs, and she isn't pleased with the amount of noise she's hearing. Hello?
There's a lot of noise going on up.
Sorry, I'll put Tavi on.
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's Judy from downstairs.
Who?
It's Judy from downstairs.
What did you want? What did you answer? Hello?
Yes, there's a lot of noise going on. A lot of moving of furniture on their floor. Would you please stop making so much noise?
Yeah, okay. I have a walker.
Yes, there's a lot of
Okay.
After hanging up, we continued pleasant conversation. This is my dog.
That's your cat?
My dog.
Oh.
We finished eating and migrated towards the kitchen to get some fruit. Your stovetop.
What?
It goes on your... Oh, I see it. I see it. Let me do it. This one? I'd forgotten about the metal pipe running through the floor of Tavia's kitchen and into Judy's. The pipe delivers 5G quality sound, making sure that the slightest noise in Tavia's kitchen can be heard clear as day in Judy's. As we made noise in the kitchen, Judy responded via pipe.
See if there's speeches.
Yeah, I think this is it. Is this it?
Okay. Serious speeches and it's not pineapple?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, put it in the microwave.
After leaving Tavia's, I headed to Hoboken, New Jersey to meet my next classmate. This classmate I didn't know well in high school, but he always had something interesting going on. He played the banjo, traveled a lot, always up to something.
I'm so excited. I have matcha toasted rice, organic chai, gunpowder green, honeybush South African nectar. I have English black breakfast tea. I have white tea. I have buttermint. Or, before you get crazy, my coworker from Israel went to a local market and sent me like herbal tea from an Israeli market. My name is Christian Thanasoulis, and I'm here with Emily in the booth.
We're in the booth. We're in the living room.
We are in the living room here in Old Hoboken, New Jersey. It'll suffice as the booth for now. Emily, what's up?
So how do we know each other?
We know each other because we went to Hawley Elementary School together and happened to have stayed in the same town all the way through high school. I think the last time I saw you, Emily, was probably 5 years ago. I found the job where I work now, applied immediately, and it happened to be in New York City. So I came over, got a place in Hoboken, and I've been living here for the better half of a year. I live with two 29-year-old women, Sammy and Jill.
You showed me downstairs in your room, you have a map of like all the places you've been and all the places you want to go.
This is true.
And there's
I do
like
have that map.
So many places that you've been.
One or two. So, yeah. I do have a downstairs, as Emily mentions, and it happens to be accessed by a spiral staircase. Weird flex, but okay. It was sophomore year. I wanted to go abroad. I picked New Zealand because it sounded cool. It was the best 6 months of my entire life, like through and through. It was really like therapeutic and liberating. And like, I remember I would wake up and never have anxiety, and like always felt well rested and healthy. I like lost weight because I ate normal things that weren't full of Americanized, synthetic crap. So part of New Zealand was really cool because it was really like bucket listy. I don't know. I rode in a helicopter for the first time, went horseback riding, got a tattoo.
What was the tat?
What?
What was the tat?
The tattoo is of an owl holding 2 keys on its back.
Where is it?
It's on my upper back.
I'm like, take it off.
I got that tattoo, and then about a month later, I ran the Wellington City Marathon. And that was another huge bucket list thing. I played Super Smash Bros. Competitively throughout high school. I would go to like national tournaments and whatnot. Basically, I made a lot of friends through playing that. And when I went over to New Zealand, it turned out that Wellington had a scene for the game I played. And I ended up getting ranked #1 in Wellington, New Zealand. And they heard about me in Australia through the internet on a Reddit thread. And then I got flown out and housed in Melbourne just to play Smash for a weekend at Battle Arena Melbourne 10. And so I made Australian homies and New Zealand homies. And so like I brought my controller assuming I would play there. And so like a huge part of my like oceanic network is from playing a Nintendo video game. It's pretty nuts. Fast forward, I went to Sydney, Australia. I went to Singapore. Following Singapore, I went to Thailand. I went from there to Korea. And Jaeyoon, who was my roommate in New Zealand, was back in Korea. So she showed me around Seoul. And I met up with some other kids that I'd met originally from Japan who were from like South Korea. So I did a lot of stuff in Seoul, like coin karaoke and trying different, crazy cafes and things they've got going on in Korea. While I was there, I met a girl from Japan, and I was headed to Japan next to stay with a bunch of friends. And I ended up going across most of Honshu, which is like the main of the 4 islands in Japan. And then most recent trip was Iceland, and that was during spring break and got cut short. But did a lot of touristy stuff there too. Stayed in a sea shanty in the middle of nowhere. The guy's name was Hamish. He was pretty cool. I guess where I'm at now, to like transfer back to present times here, you asked like what I'm up to. Just kind of figured it out, Emily Cherish. I don't really know what I want in life anymore. I think that for the last few years, it's been very bucket listy. It's like everyone says, like, get involved in college, go get a great job, go travel, go, dance and love and feel and, go
free
be
love,
exactly,
free drugs.
I feel like for most of my life, I've always been like checking boxes. Well, I was talking to this guy at the New York Times. He's like for work. He's like the executive director of customer care. And we were talking to him for like a panel he was going to be on. And he was like, I often pick up something and get to a certain level of mastery, be it, knitting or making a good espresso or gardening. And then I kind of drop it and move on to the next thing. And then I was like, whoa, that's me. Like I always, like in high school or something, I like would play the banjo until I got okay. And then I would like go learn Japanese until I was like, okay. And then I would go, play Smash Bros until I was like respectable. Nowadays, it's like I try to start like a fashion blog or try to play guitar. Or I try to get into wine, and like I get so far and then I kind of get bored. And so now here I am kind of like a year and living in these 4 walls of my apartment, not really having a way to meet people, not having much to do. And sort of like I've exhausted all of my things that like seemed interesting. And now I'm kind of like, well, what do I do? And like checking those boxes isn't as fulfilling and doesn't like feel as exciting anymore. And so now I'm kind of like back to the drawing board of like, what does make me happy? What will bring me happiness? And I don't know. Time with other people is like probably one of my favorite things. And because I don't have time with other people right now, it's just kind of like
really difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I moved to the city, when it wasn't COVID times, it still took me like forever to make, like my best friend was an 86-year-old woman for 7 months. Like my best friend. And like, it's really difficult to make friends here. The roommate has come home.
Yeah. Hey, Jill.
Hey.
This is Emily.
How's it going?
Jill just, so let it be known that Jill, it looks so good. Oh my gosh. Jill just got 10 inches off her hair. It looks amazing.
Like, you look amazing.
It looks like Demi Lovato's hair.
Yeah, you look like Demi Lovato.
I think the last thing is like, world's crazy. Stuff's crazy right now. If you're out there and you're like thinking about going and seeing somebody or never have before, go see a therapist, go get help, go talk to somebody. I'll say, like, I know typically, like, people say, like, men's mental health is, like, not brought up enough, or people don't go seek help enough. I think, like, since I was, like, I don't know, 14, my mom's told me to go see a therapist, and I've always been like, no, I'm fine. And then, like, January, I was watching this video about Anthony Bourdain, if you're familiar, and I learned that he committed suicide. And, like, this guy who was eating food around the world, was beloved, was so good at what he did, was so fun to be around, seemingly was, like, the greatest guy, and then, like, you know, ended his life kind of thing. And so even if you have all this stuff going for you, like, it can be hard, things can be tough. Here's me saying, hey, team, I started going to see a therapist in January, and it's cool. Big homie gives me, you know, the tools to cope with things that have bothered me for many years, you know, things that keep me up at night, things that I thought made me crazy, but really he's like, you're normal and you're okay, and you can think about things like that, and that's, like, an all right thing. Go get help if you need it. Not just guys, anybody out there, but also be your best self, whatever that is.
Thank you to Christian. After leaving Hoboken, I went to my local Chase bank to deposit a check. I was digging through my backpack to find my debit card, so I was pulling out all my mic equipment, and this guy who was sitting outside of the bank was like, oh, are you a reporter? And I was like, no, I'm making a podcast about my high school class. Do you want to be on it? And he was like, sure. So I was like,
how have you changed in the past 5 years?
Only God knows that, but I'm hoping to be more like Jesus every day.
Really? Not even a haircut?
Oh, yeah, wow.
Oh, okay.
During this impromptu recording, I noticed yet another person standing outside of the Chase bank. So I pivoted to her and asked her the same question.
How have you changed in the past 5 years?
Well, in the last 5 years, I have changed because I came to Christ.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a new way of living.
What was 6 years ago like?
Before that, I was a wild woman.
Oh my goodness.
Not wild, but you know, I had a business and I dated and I did this and I did that. You know,
so you were like well-rounded.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
After printing my receipt, I headed over to Murray Hill to see my last classmate for this episode. This classmate and I, we didn't know each other too well in high school, but I do remember religiously saying hello to her in the hallway. Literally every time that I saw her from 8th grade to high school graduation. A good thing that's happened in the past 5 years.
Let me ponder that one.
You're like, wait, one good thing?
Hi, I'm Laura. I work for a pharmaceutical advertising company, so basically I'm like a legal drug dealer. I work for a company whose clients are like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, whatever, and they hire us to promote their drug. America's the only country in the world, I think it's also Australia or New Zealand, that can advertise drugs to consumers. So
really,
Europe, everywhere else, you can't advertise drugs to consumers. So it's like, it's kind of fucked up if you think about it. You shouldn't be like, are you feeling depressed? Try this. You know, it's like, we work globally and in the US, so we have to like market and like advertise the drug in different ways, depending on if it's global or US, which is kind of cool. It's just about New York. All the guys I've gone out with, that's all they want to talk about is their job. And I've noticed that. I've talked to like the boy downstairs, he's like, everyone from New York City just wants to rave about their job, talk about how successful they are, and like that's why I get self-conscious talking about it, because I'm like, it's all New York. I feel like it's weird that way. It's kind of like a competition-ish, or it's just bragging, right? It's like, I work at Goldman Sachs and I do this and that.
Have you gone on dates here?
I have gone on 3 dates. They've all been awful.
Really?
So bad. Hinge.
Oh, Hinge, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like honestly gonna take a break because like it's literally not worth it. That's why I went on Bumble BFF, because I'm like, when I'm 3 dates that were just like not fun. I did my hair, I did my makeup, when I would like try to make a good impression, and then it was just bland. So I'm like, I might as well go on like fun girl dates instead, not like to hook up with the chick, but like and just to like have fun.
Break down Bumble BFF for people that don't know.
Sure. Yeah, so it's basically an app that can just match with people who are also trying to like make friends.
Have you gotten any matches on Bumble BFF?
I have.
Can we see?
I actually was meaning to respond to one. Okay, so this is like one girl, so like I connect with people I think actually I can connect with. So she's like for my gals to wine and dine with my friends who was out in New York City at the beginning of quarantine. Super extroverted, sometimes annoying, usually drunk. Me. This girl was like, I love your eyeliner. Like, what do you use? You know what I mean? Like, just shit like that. Being like, complimenting girls, but not in a creepy way.
You're like, hey, what's up, shorty?
Girl shit. Like, I like your eyeliner.
I love that you responded to I like your eyeliner with 2 paragraphs.
This girl was like, you rock that haircut. You know what I mean? Like, this is also...
Okay, but she does rock that haircut.
Look at her! We're literally just trying to make friends, because making friends in New York City during a pandemic when, like, the majority of people left, a lot of, like, fucking restaurants, bars, clubs are shut down. It's like, how the fuck are we supposed to meet people? You know what I mean? So it's all
impossible.
girls in the same boat, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Being independent as my own person. I mean, in high school, dated a dude, college, dated a dude, try to be a certain person, and then I'm like, you know what? I really don't give a fuck anymore. And, like, I just kind of do whatever I want to do. I go places alone. I go to movies alone. I do a lot of things alone. And it doesn't make me feel like lonely anymore. I'm just like being my own fucking person. I think that's like super empowering. And so, I mean, I moved to New York City not knowing one single person. I didn't even know my roommate. Like, she's from California. Melanie. I didn't even know you. We met each other on move-in day. We're like, hello, we're roommates now. Like, literally, like, I didn't even think it was awkward. We were kind of just, like, hanging out and, like, doing whatever. And
Melanie?
it ended up being, like, cool.
Do you have anything to say to the people in
Yeah.
high school?
I don't know. I mean, moving to New York, not knowing anybody, it's intense.
Yeah.
Especially for a job, because it's harder to meet people, I think, in job.
I need to be able to, like, meet a new person every day. If you fuck up once, you do something embarrassing, you're never gonna fucking see that person again. Never again. College sucked because I would have so many embarrassing moments. Literally Tuesday night, Friday night, Thursday night, whatever. And I'm like, nobody remembers, right? And my roommates would be like, yeah, nobody remembers. But it's like, they remember, they're gonna see you tomorrow night. You know, they're gonna be doing the same fucking shit. So my dad married a prostitute when I graduated high school. That was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go on.
So, I mean, I'm not sure how many, like, people have met my dad, but he's, like, pretty out there. I mean, he has, like, borderline personality disorder, and he's, like, kind of, like, mentally crazy, but he ended up marrying his orthopedic surgeon's prostitute.
Wow.
Yeah, that he met at a party, and that girl was there to be with his friend, the doctor, and then he met her the next morning and was like, actually really liked her and asked her to like go out to get breakfast, which is like super sweet and like whatever, and like actually ended up like sincerely falling in love with her. But she's like nuts. I mean, she had a kid at like 13 and she's had like a hard life. I'm talking like she got into stripping by like 16 and then she was hooked on like crystal by like 17. So I feel bad for her. They don't even live together.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they've been married for 6 years and she actually won't tell him where she lives because she doesn't want him to see her. And I'm like, Dad, you know she's just using her for money. I mean, like, are you serious? Have you seen the show Say Yes to the Dress?
Yeah.
We're on it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's like season 11, like, we don't do anything normal because he got married in Vegas on the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like filmed and everything because, like, I mean, what clickbait is that to have a prostitute with Ginger? She, like, I know she still, like, sees guys on the side, and I mean, you can look her up. She has a whole, like, profile and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And, like, I already know she's definitely still escorting and doing her thing on the side, and honestly, all power to her. Like, fucking, I'm all about women doing their own fucking thing and, like, doing whatever, but, like, just leave my dad out of it and just fucking lead him on forever. Because he's so oblivious and, like, shit. I should have found more wine. We have, like, a wine thing literally next door.
Oh, yeah?
Do you want to, should we get some?
Yeah, let's get some.
Oh my God,
That's
perfect.
so fun. Thank you to Laura, and thanks for listening to this episode of the 5-Year Reunion. Next week, we'll be in Central and Northern Connecticut talking to 3 people I went to high school with. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast everywhere you listen. See you next week.